Right, welcome back and thanks for staying right there with us. It's been quite a long morning because we've had a lot of things to do right here in the studio. But at 9 o'clock when we come here, it is serious business. Every other time is serious business, but at 9 we get a bit deeper. And right now we will be talking, having the big conversations, and we will be talking about the Nigerian youth confab.
That's right.
I think we spoke a bit about that. We talk about youth political participation and the National Youth Confirm. Now, it was shocking to me when I heard the number of people that opted to be a part of that confirm. Now, some part of me know that Nigerians still believe in Nigeria.
Oh,
At least the youth still believe in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because it was an opportunity for them to express directly their thoughts and what they think can be contributed to our Nigerian political system to make us better and practice better democracy.
Right.
So welcome again to Rapid Dawn. Of course, 9 o'clock hour, top of the hour to you yet again. This is Martha Alu, and of course, I will not be doing this alone. I've got my guy right beside me.
All right, my name is Victor K. And just like Martha was saying earlier on, when we talk about the confab, it's quite exciting to see that we have lots of people, lots of young persons who are very much interested in having this conversation. And for me, I'm also very much happy for that. But I'm looking forward to seeing that beyond communiques, that will be coming out, we can basically see actions. Because if you go back to history as well, especially in 2023, when we had one of those first confab as well, headed by Sunday Dari, as at the time, lots of communiques came up, but little bit of implementation were some of the things that we saw. We were hoping that this time around, conversations that will lead to actions are the things that are going to be heard. And then we can basically say, yes, after the sitting, these are the things that we talked about, and these are the results that we are seeing. So that Nigerians that are in love with Nigeria, Nigerians that believe so much in Nigeria.
Don't you?
I
well,
do.
you say like Nigerians. You say like it's you people's problem.
I do. No, it's our problem, and that's the reason I've not jacked by yet.
Okay.
Because I was going there now. I'm saying that so that Nigerians who are, Nigerians like me, and maybe like Martha, I'm not sure. Martha,
Maybe? Really?
Maybe like Martha.
Maybe.
Because you're looking like, I think your ticket is ready. But stay in Nigeria for a while. You understand?
We're here. The fact that we'll go out and come back does not mean we cannot be here. We're still here because we believe in Nigeria. And in fact, we must go out. Remember, I don't know, I don't want to sound like a pastor right now, but
But
go to
it,
them that sell and buy. Because you might not know, you cannot know everything.
Of course.
Right? So there are people, parts of the countries, part of the world that are captains in certain fields. It is important that you go to them who have the knowledge, buy and bring and
come back
in your system.
And not just go over there and stay. And that's one of the things that Nigerians...
Stay if you want to. I'm not going to judge you. Stay if you want to.
But for us to grow our economy as well, too, I'm of that, school of thought that we can always bring those knowledge, back home to the country, Nigeria.
Is there a system where it can thrive?
That's where the problem is. And that's why we need to always, at all point in time, drag our government, right? We need to create systems. We need to create, a favorable environment where our people who love to do business, work in Nigeria can actually thrive. And that's some of the things.
All right, bet you already know it's about to be an interesting conversation. We're not alone in the studio. Of course, we're not by ourselves. We've got someone who will help us break down this topic, so that you can chew and digest it as much as possible. Today, we've got Haruna Godia with us. He is the Programs and Policy Coordinator for LEAP Africa and youth leader, public policy professional, and passionate good governance advocate. Hi, Mr. Godia.
Hello, Martha. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing
morning
today?
to you.
I'm fine. Good morning, Victor.
Thank you.
First of all, before we get on to this, you have a lot of policy, a lot of governors, a lot of enthusiasts in your profile. What drives you to push these things forward?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. Once again, my name is Haruna Godia. I'm a programs coordinator at LEAP Africa. I'm a passionate Nigerian. Sometimes I also refer myself as a detribalized Nigerian.
Okay.
What that means is that I grew up in a setting that is multicultural.
Okay.
So right from my childhood, I know different people and I grew up in different places at different points in time. So the passion for Nigeria has always been there because I saw people from different ethnic groups, different religion while growing up. So I'm really passionate about Nigeria, and of course I have a background in political science.
Amazing.
Yeah, so in fact it was the passion that led me to actually study political science, to understand the dynamics of government, and also have the ambition that if the if the system calls me to serve, I'm available to serve.
Okay.
So yeah, that passion is really the one driving me to ensure that I communicate and I contribute to governance issues in Nigeria.
Yeah, you must be one of the very few Nigerians who study something and practice exactly what they studied.
That's right.
So that's amazing. Kudos to you on that. So let's start right here. When you first heard about the Youth Confab, right? What was your immediate thought? Did you see it as a symbolic gesture or something with real potential to shift the needle?
All right, thank you so much for that question. So Nigeria over the years has we have a lot of conversations around youth inclusion, youth inclusion, youth inclusion. So for me, I think to answer your question directly, I would say this is something with potential, and I say why. In the wisdom of the current government, led by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that a confab is dedicated to the youth.
Yeah.
So for us to have that that platform, I think is the first big step. That this is a platform for youth, and for youth alone. So I think that's the first potential I see. And at a time like this, where the popularity of government is a concern, the election of 2023, how it played out, some people are still aggrieved. But seeing the government coming with that platform for young people, to be able to come together to co-create solution on how issues that relate to youth. I believe in the saying that say nothing for us without us.
Yeah.
So if you are actually putting a table for the young people to sit and discuss and to think a solution, I think there is potential in it.
Okay.
Now you mentioned youth inclusion earlier on. Now, if you take your mind back to 2018, the then President Muhammadu Buhari, signed into law the Not Too Young to Run bill, which of course reduced the age requirement for political offices from 35 to 25.
Yes.
Now, if you look at it from 7 years now, 7 years back up until now, would you say that that bill has empowered Nigerian youth so far?
Okay, thank you so much. Interesting question. So why I smiled is so the House of Reps speaker then is actually from my constituency.
Oh,
so
okay.
that was like we're really excited that it was during his tenure something like that even came up. So that's just a side note. To speak to the Not Too Young to Run, which I planned that I anticipated that maybe something that will even come in our conversation today. I would say the Not Too Young to Run actually created a platform for people to run. Now, in the National Assembly, you hear conversation like Youth in Parliament, led by His Excellency Honorable Alawa Akala. El-Rufai, the son of the former governor of Kaduna State, is also in the Parliament. We have young people like Tolani Shagaya from Kwara State. We have the young man from Kebbi State. And in Nasarawa State, there is, even in the State Assembly, there is somebody that ran at age of 25, So there have been significant shifts and young people to actually involve in politics. Recently, in Lagos, somebody that I know very close actually ran for the local government chair of Apapa local government. So it tells you that young people are now interested, young people want to run, young people want to really contribute to this. So for me, the Not Too Young to Run bill, act rather, has really reshaped certain things. More young people are now involved, and I think that is what even led to the emergence of these young parliamentarians in 2023. So I think it's a step that we have taken in 2018, 2017, 2018 that we took, and then now young people are more conscious, people are more involved. So people that are not ready to run, they are already involving to vote.
That's right.
Those that were voting before now have moved to run. And some ran and actually won seats in different areas.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's a progress.
That's amazing. All right, let's move. In your view, what does the surge in registration for the confab say about the mindset of Nigerian youth?
So for me, I think it in two ways. As a development professional, so one thing is that on one side, I'm sure that on one side, I believe that it's actually a genuine interest for young people that they want to communicate. And also, another thing again is when something is about government, people think that there's something in for me and they just want to be in the room. So, but with the recent things that has been going on social media, the 30 days rant, the
challenge.
challenge that was going on. So this is an opportunity. And for me, I think the contributory factor to this is that this confab, if you see the structure of this confab, is unique.
Okay. How so?
Why I say it's unique is that it's going to operate on a 30-day period.
Okay.
And beyond the 30-day period, within the 30-day period, there will be online conversations and there will be physical conversations. And then if you go to the portal, you will see that there is also an opportunity for you to actually submit proposals, policy documents, and recommendations. So somebody in the diaspora can actually contribute.
Okay.
Somebody anywhere, I can decide that I don't want to be in the room, but I will send in my contributions, and my contributions will form the menu for the deliberations during the conversation. So I think the search is that the process is very open.
Okay.
The portal is made in such a way that it accommodates, you know, both the online and we know the Gen Zs that we have. There are many people that want to contribute, but they want to be in the room like this.
That's right.
They just want to contribute from their keypads. So you can actually build your policy documents and make the contributions online. So I believe that's openness and that structure that
makes
the
it
confab that it makes it more credible and makes it more inclusive for people. And then also, if at the launch of the portal, there's something the Honorable Minister of Youth said, which was very striking. It is a 50-50.
Okay.
Both male and female, including people with disability.
Exactly.
So if you see 50-50 coming on, what do you expect?
Transparency.
Everybody want to join because they know that these people are serious. These people want us to be in the room. These people want us to contribute. And that's why the search came in.
All right. So how is the selection being done for people to participate? I know that they're going to like register online.
Yeah.
And the last time I checked, it was about 44,000 people who had registered in the space of 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
Yes, people had already registered
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
What is the selection process like? Because of course, a lot of people, just as you said, a lot of people might not want to, you know, be in the room. But I know a lot of people who
Want to be
also
in the
want to
room.
be in the room.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a more personal approach, you know, to raising the concerns and adopting policies and what have you. Do you know the selection process of people who will be in the room to make that deliberation?
Okay, if you look at the portal, I think it's something that is open for everybody.
Yeah.
There is a age criteria.
Okay.
There is a location, maybe your address, and even some background of what you do.
Okay.
All those things are basic information just to capture and understand the kind of person that is applying for this.
Okay.
I don't know the nitty-gritties beyond that, apart from the eligibility criteria. Yeah, I don't know beyond that. But what I know is that those things are things that we want. And I like the idea of the inclusion part.
Yeah.
Apart from people with disability, also there is also a leverage that, you know, according to our national youth policy, young people are between the ages of 18 and 35.
Yeah.
And in some document you will see 18 and 29.
Yeah.
But the confab is looking at people from 18 to 35. And then there are some exceptions for people between 35 to 40.
Okay.
Yes, there is those exceptions
Okay.
as part of the requirement for people that will be part of it. So I think that level of inclusion, people with disability, the age demography, and one thing that Nigerians, I think I'll tell Nigerians and young people like me is that based on the plan that the government, the ministry have to do, that's the committee that is set up to do, the planning committee, the secretariat plan to do, you will see that they really want people. But not everybody can be in the room.
Certainly.
And that is why the online platform is there for people to leverage. Why? Because there is a limited number of people that can be there.
Okay.
Right? But one thing that is so sure is that it will be inclusive and it will be in the 360 federal constituencies.
Okay.
It will also be in the geopolitical zone, and then it will be at the national that people will come to. So you can be a contributor at the 360 federal constituency.
Yes.
Everybody is from a federal constituency.
Yes.
That's right.
So you can also be there. You can contribute online, or you can be in your federal constituency, or you can be in the geopolitical zone, or you can be in Abuja. But one thing is sure, that there is pocket of space
for everybody
to just fit in. So
That's-
it's just for us to leverage what
that's-
we can do.
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And the truth is, a lot of Nigerians, not to drag Nigerians, so to say, a lot of us complain about the things that we don't like, but very few of us take proactive steps to changing them.
Surely.
And this confab, participating in this confab is an active step, is a proactive step
Right.
towards changing the norm. Because now we can hold the government accountable.
Surely.
You called us together and you said you wanted to hear our perspective on things. And we came together And we said it. What are you doing about the policy documents that was adopted? Because, of course, documents will be adopted after the whole confab.
That's
But
right.
they will bring together all of the policies that were introduced by or that were suggested by the youth, come up with a policy document and probably present it to the House to see if it will be signed or it will not be signed. But this is your cue to participate in the confab. You've heard him. It cuts across all borders. So everyone gets the chance to be a part of it.
And of course, picking up from where you just stopped right now, I want to go back to 2021 as well, to where we had the National Youth Confab as well, that was organized, convened by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Then was led by the then Minister Sunday Dare. Now, over 770 youth leaders across Nigeria were invited. A communique as well was issued, but of course there were few follow-ups, right? Now we talked about the fact that we have over 44,000 people registered now. They've talked about inclusion, talked about policies and all of that. Now again, 770 persons were invited previously. Communiques were brought out, but those implementations were not there. Now how do we hold, the organizers of this year's confab accountable to ensure that the policies that will come out of this confab will be implemented?
All right, thank you so much for that. So from my understanding of the current arrangement for the confab, I'll be speaking from my personal opinion. So Sunday Dare, Honorable Minister Sunday Dare led his own conversation, and I'll just say that that happened in a different government. And you know that in Nigeria, the major thing that can push a needle is actually the political will of the current time. Okay, the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has shown commitment to what he wants to do. Okay. And that is why you can see that if you look at the current arrangement of the confab now, you can see that there is a deliberate inclusion of government officials, youth leaders, and also CSOs.
Right.
All right. If you check the committee, the secretariat that was set up, you could see that there are several people from, notably, one of them is Mr. Samson Itodo from Yaga, who is also a very good person in this space that has been really contributing. And this is another thing again I want to mention. You can see the process and the structure. The structure is taking a different dimension. We don't just want people to come to Abuja and discuss and then everybody go. That's why the consultation is both online, begins, and also at the federal constituencies, the zones, and then it comes to the national. All right. And the one thing I also observed from the arrangement right now is that part of the people that are planning this confab is also the National Assembly is being carried along. Currently in that planning committee, Honorable Alawakala is representing the House of Reps, while Honorable Asukwo, that's the distinguished Senator Asukwo from Calabar, from Cross River South, is the one representing the Senate. And all of them are young people. So the idea is that they follow the conversations, they contribute, and they will be the point that will push for these communiques, these policy documents at the Senate and also at the Federal House of Representatives. So there is that inclusion to ensure that whoever is coming contributes very well, and then the required people that needs to push certain things to ensure that those policy, those documents really are things that will be attended to. You can't take away the fact that the issue of political will, but for me, what I see is that the commitment of the president to say that I want to hear the youth. I don't think that was what was done in the past administration. But if there is this is a president saying, I want to hear the youth, and I want to hear the youth organize a confab where the young people are going to speak, and then let me hear them. So I think there is a level of commitment that really the president wants to change something. And you can see from the posture of the president, the student loan, and the other things that he has been doing. So it means that there is a level of commitment to what he wants to do for youth, because it's not just about talk. It's about actions. And there are people that are benefiting from some of the interventions of the president. So I believe that this is a good step to go.
So now, regardless of that change that we have seen, the previous administration not coming to the round table with youth, and not even paying attention to youth at all. And we see that a different turn has been taken with this administration. Regardless of that, many youths are still skeptical about the government initiatives. Now, how do we bridge the gap of trust between the government, the youth, and policymakers?
Interesting question, Martha. So the truth is that because of our past experiences as Nigerians, we have reasons to doubt.
Certainly.
Okay, and because of the nature of politics in Nigeria, where you find, in the process of aggregating interests, diverse positions are taken at different points in time that you begin to wonder what is going on, why this, why that. So I would say that the youth, the response I'll give you is this: you have every reasons to doubt, but currently look at the trajectory. You have every reasons to trust the system. And then one thing I would say is that you can't bring a change without being part of the process. Be part of the process. Be in the room, and that's when you can hold the government accountable. Speak, participate, so that by the time they said this and this, you will say, but I am here. I said this, I said this, but this was not done. Okay? So there is always that tendency because of our past experience. But because this is a new government, because this is a commitment from the president, because of the nature or the structure of the confab, where the issue of inclusion is at the topmost, right? The issue of expertise is at the topmost. The issue of engaging everybody is at the topmost. I think is something for the young people to ensure that they are part of the process. Make your input, make your contributions, so that you can be able to hold government accountable that we said this, then you can hold them that this should be done.
Beyond holding the government accountable as well, I'm going back to youth, really participating in governance. That is talking about running for elected positions as well too. Now go back to 2023. Now, INEC pegged the cost of running, I think for House of Reps, the APC was 10 million naira, the PDP was 2 million naira. For presidency, can you recall how much was pegged?
I think about 100 million.
About 100 million naira. Now, how many youth in Nigeria can afford 100 million naira for a form to run for a political office in Nigeria?
All right, thank
you.
Even
if you hear them from today till
tomorrow. Do you understand?
Even if they don't have the money
it's quite interesting that this question is coming to me. I'm yet to run for an office. But I think 2 years ago or so, I attended a leadership program, and in one of the module that they took us is running for office, and then one is campaign financing. If you are a leader or a young person and you can't be able to rally people to contribute to your cause, then you are not a leader. But that's just another conversation.
We won't get back to it now.
Yes,
just land your point.
So I agree that, so first of all, it's not INEC that sets the money, it's the party. It's the party that sets the
No, but there was a guideline from INEC to peg it at that.
To peg you, so, but of course, where the money goes to,
it's to the party.
It goes to the party. So it's an opportunity for the party to raise money and to be able to support the candidates when they are running for office. Now, let's bring it down home. The truth is that not every youth can afford that money, right? But you can't take it. You can't get everything at once, and that's why we are on a journey. We are on a trajectory of growth. First of all, before 2018, what can you say about youth inclusion in politics? Even running for office. First of all, the age is disqualifying you. Now we have taken the age barrier to a reasonable extent. And then we had some people that have benefited from it.
True.
Okay? Now the next thing can be an advocacy for us to say, campaign this needs to go down. And then justifiable so.
Right.
All right? So it's step by step. You can't just have it all at once. Because you can't just so the comments I'll leave our young people is that you have opportunity to actually run for office, and that's why a young person that can be able to raise money to run for governor or to run for president, it means that there are other important posts that you can actually run for within the budget that you have.
Of course,
you understand.
Go back to the budget again as well, to 10 million naira for the House of Representatives. Again, how many youth can bring out a 10 million naira and say, this is just for the form? That's the least. So, PDP is 2 million naira.
So the question I'll put to you is that why are we focused on House of Reps when there is state assembly? There is councillorship, where you can start to build yourself, build the connection. Don't forget that most of these politicians, it's not their money, personal money that they use to run. Some of them get it from the 2023 election. One of the party, most of the people that ran for office actually got money support from people. People gave them money. So if you are running for an office that you can't afford the money, it means that there are other positions that you can run for that are very important and it's within your range, and you can be able to raise money for it. Even when we're in school, when you talk about the SUG, not everybody can run for SUG. Some run for faculty.
Yeah.
Some run for departments. It is because of their hierarchy. They are rich. So why are we always focusing on the House of Reps when there is important issues to be discussed at the State Assembly? Do you know what it means if you're a councillor and you are an important councillor that is doing amazing thing in your community, that you're going to contribute to local governance? But what we young people want is that you want to be at the federal. But whereas power resides with the people and at the grassroots.
Right.
So what I would say is that yes, there is the limitation of money, but can we prioritize and go for positions that we know that we can rally our human and material resources,
If talking
and
about,
if possible,
talking about prioritizing as well, to even the local government levels, have you noticed the fact that there's been that intrusion by godfatherism, that for almost anyone that's going to be the local government chairman or a councillor, it's almost like these persons are handpicked and placed in that particular position. So young people wants to run for these offices, but again, that intrusion of godfatherism is still there.
Okay, so I'm a student of politics. You can't take away godfatherism from politics, directly or indirectly, because whether you like it or not, you are running for office. One way or the other, somebody needs to sponsor you.
Definitely.
Even if you are from a billionaire family, there are certain help that you need people to help you beyond money, goodwill. You can't just easily buy goodwill. You understand? So the example of Lagos, right? What I would just respond to that is the people that were handpicked, did they fall from heaven? They didn't fall from heaven.
Of course not.
They grew into somewhere. So what are you doing? Why are you not in the room? Do you understand? So we can't stay and keep on blaming ourselves and keep on blaming the system and say this and say that. Those people got recommendation because over time they've been around the corridors of power.
Exactly.
They've been around. They've seen them. There are some people that even though they were handpicked, they were not people that we maybe went and then lobby for it. Rather, because they were just doing amazing things in their own way, and they were said, okay, you come up and then do that. And the question should not be whether somebody is handpicked or not. The question is that is the person competent?
Yeah.
Competence should be the first thing, because I can be handpicked and I'm competent, right? It's just maybe because of goodwill and then I have opportunity to be in the office. So can we look at competence side by side opportunity for you to be pushed? So that should be what you should be looking for, not really.
That's a very tricky one.
It's a tricky
It's
one.
a very tricky one because many people, there are other people who also have the skill to run, the skill to rule, but they don't have access to opportunities.
All of
that
us cannot
push
be
them.
in the sick. All of us cannot
I
be.
get that. Fair enough.
They have that interest
Fair
as well
enough,
too, and
fair
most of them
enough.
also working gently to that position. But there's that blockage that is always there.
So
Which
Victor,
is God.
right. So Victor,
in the negative line.
in the negative line. So
Yeah.
Victor, what I want to tell you is this. I remember there was a time I supported somebody to run for something, and I was the background person, the campaign person.
Yeah.
And then she was running for an important office in her office, like a union.
Okay.
One thing I learned from that is that she ran for that office. First of all, when she wanted to run, she said she wanted to run for VP. And then in my conversation, I told her, why are you running for VP? Why not the chairman? She looked at me and said, why? I said, run for chairman. Why VP? After no thinking, she decided to run for VP. Do you know that later she got to find out that management had their own candidate that they want to be the chairman? Right now, the end point is this. She ran for it, fought for it. At the end, the management still had their way by installing the person. Okay. But they knew that this person is not somebody to play with. And she was rewarded for it.
But
now,
she didn't get that position.
She didn't get that position. She didn't get that position. So the thing is, whether you like it or not, all of us cannot be governors at the same time. The question is, if I don't have this, what is my second address? What can I do? Some people, there are some people in the history, when you read Nigerian history, there are some people that, I don't want to call names, there are some people who say the president we never had. But the president we never had did something also. Right? I don't want to call the name of a particular person. Right? There are people that were not presidents in Nigeria, but when you remember them, you know that this person, during his time, he did this, he did this, he did this. Okay? And there are some people that became president and became a disaster for us. So the point I am making is this. You can't take away godfatherism, because at a time, in fact, sometimes godfatherism is an opportunity to balance power.
How so?
right? Yes, because
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, at some given point in time, you need a power broker.
Yeah.
Because there are sometimes that Victor and I we disagree.
Yeah.
That on this one I don't agree, and we need somebody,
Yeah.
an external party, to actually say, Victor, can you calm down? Haruna, can you calm down?
Yeah.
Okay,
make headway.
let's do this, and then let's do this.
Okay.
You understand? So whether you like it or not, politics is give and take, right? Politics is about interest. Of course, the godfathers will always be there, but the idea is that can we be competent?
Yeah.
That in the corridors of power, when things are discussed, we are there, we are making input, and anybody, irrespective, if we look at young people, if Victor is going there to be president and I'm going there to be president, why should I be angry that Victor is ahead of me? It's because we have a different interest.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
the
if
ambition.
it's about development, irrespective of who is going to the seats, Nigeria is to progress. That should be the end goal.
Right.
But because we know that to a reasonable extent, what we are going there for is something. So
Yeah.
that is why, irrespective of who is going, we don't
Yeah.
want to know. It should be my person.
Whether they are
Okay.
competent
Do you understand?
or
Or
not.
not.
By the
Yeah.
time we are even ready in this country, I'm sure that the issue of zoning is going to die
Yeah,
down.
and
You know,
sometimes
and all
party,
that.
we've already seen party cross-carpeting happen with Wike and
Yeah.
this government. Wike is PDP. I mean, the government of the day is APC.
Yes.
Regardless of the fact that he's not from the same party, he was trusted with the job. And the truth is, if it's infrastructural development, everyone knows that we
He's
can
doing
leave it
great.
up to him. He's doing that pretty well. But
Yeah.
human capital development, which is one of also the most important parts of development in a country,
Yeah.
is being overlooked. Just yesterday, we saw children demonstrate on the streets
Yeah.
because they've been in school. In fact, I have been on that case since last year. Like they were on and off,
yeah.
on and off. They I don't think they have spent like 3 months straight in school.
Boy.
You know, these institutions. But I mean, that's a conversation for another day. Let's get back to the youth. Now, looking at Nigeria today, right? Economically, socially, and politically, what do you think are the barriers keeping young people from thriving?
Okay, you already called these fears, right? Whether you like it or not, Nigeria, in political science, there's what we call political determinism, or sometimes we also refer to as, we also call economic determinism, which states that most times when the economy is affected, it affects the politics. So we behave we behave politically because of our economy.
Yeah.
And to a reasonable extent also there's that interchangeable nature where the politics also affect the economy. Even in our religious centers,
Yeah.
if you see the way we behave, there's a coloration of political and economy,
Yes.
you know, in it. So several limitations happen to the young people. Of course, access to opportunities are things, and then unemployment, the rate of unemployment and inflation also is something that is really affecting our young people. But I think I would dwell more on access. Access to opportunities, be it political, be it economic, be it social. Young people are quite an interesting people. With the current inflation, you find that what you were used to spending is way lesser now. So it shrinks you and then limits you to certain things that you want to explore. The little money that you got, that you usually get, the idea before was to maybe get some money and then also have opportunity to invest. But now what you're thinking is how to feed. You know, so that's already a limitation of how you think and how you plan for yourself. Okay, so I would say that young people in Nigeria are having those challenges. I know the government, the private sector are pushing things here and there, but that has not really gone beyond what we are having. And with the current crisis in the Middle East and the likes, in Europe and the likes, I'm sure that the government needs to brace up. If not, the youth will be thrown in jeopardy. Yeah,
completely. Thank
yeah.
you so much for that. I think we're way past mid the hour. It's quite an interesting conversation, if you ask me, an enlightening one too. But we need to go on a very short break. When we get back, we'll keep up this conversation. Please keep it locked in.
This is Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. We connect people, power stories, and amplify voices. On Rapid TV, we're rooted in culture and your window to the stories that matter. From news to lifestyle, we inform, entertain, and uplift. Join Rapid TV on Star Times Channel 176, Nightcom Sat, On Rapid FM, we speak your language from the soulful airwaves of Umuahia to the vibrant culture of Port Harcourt and beyond. More than broadcasters, we're creators, amplifying that voice within with powerful content across TV, radio, and digital. Join us at rbnradiotv.com and all our social media handles. One network, one voice. Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN, the sound of your city. Rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Glad to have you back on Rapid Dawn, and of course we've been having an interesting conversation here talking about the youth confab that is coming up pretty soon. And our guest here has been doing justice to the question. Do remember that you can be part of the conversation. The WhatsApp number is on your screen, so please do well to send us a message as well. Share your thoughts. If you have a question for our guest in the studio, also send in your questions. We will help you ask those questions right here. But of course, moving on to the conversation as well. Let me take you back again to 2023, right, during the elections. Now, according to INEC, in 2023, figures showed that youth aged between 18 to 34 made up 39.65% of registered voters. That is about over 37 million of the Nigerian youth that were registered. Yet, when you looked at the final voter turnout, it was around 27% nationwide. And that's been the lowest since 1999, according to the report here as well too. Now the question is, with these numbers, how do we explain this paradox? We have massive youth registration, but we have historic low turnout. So would you say it is the case of disinterest or distrust in the system?
Thank you for that question. And it's a good one to go back to 2023. 2023 is an interesting
Very interesting.
I was discussing with my friends and I told them in 2023 I decided to go back to my village to vote for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, both times when I vote in the city, but I decided to go back to my constituency, to my village and my ward to vote, and it was maybe I'll share those things later. All right. Just to respond to your question, I'll speak as a typical Nigerian. First of all, you need to understand that our system has a way of making people adopt certain behaviors that is not good for that is not good for us. In my conversation with young people, there are people that got PVC because they needed an ID card.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
They needed an ID card. So
not
that's
for
what,
voting.
Yes, they just needed the PVC. They just want that card, and because it serves as a valid ID.
Exactly.
For those that don't have NIN and they decide to just have that voter's card. Then the second thing again is whether you like it or not, with the 2019 election, there were some disgruntled people that felt, I'm not going to vote. So some of them just registered to fulfill all righteousness and then decided not to vote. The next thing also is the issue of insecurity. There were insecurity in several places, so certain people were not able to move to where they were, and then get their participate in the election. So the aspect of distrust has always been there. Right? It has always been there. But there are also factors, interchangeable factors, which I mentioned already, the issue of insecurity, and the issue of, just that apathy, that political apathy that's already grown in our young people. And don't forget, the 2020 election is the aftermath of the NSAS.
Yes.
The NSAS protest, whatever that has happened. So there are some people that after the protest, they felt this government, they don't want to hear us, and blah, blah, blah. And then that distrust increased. Then some people, again, were just disgruntled and they are not ready to vote. Then the insecurity side of things are also some things that played out that made some people not to participate in the election. Nonetheless, if you look at Nigeria as a whole, in terms of the numbers, also don't forget that young people, their voting pattern changes over time because of the influence of maybe parents and the likes. I know somebody that I spoke to, and he was telling me how their parents sat them down and told them what to do on election day. So if you are as a youth, if you are prepared to vote, and then on the day of election, your dad or your mom tell you that, oh boy, can you relax here, because I don't think you are safe out there, what will happen to you? You will sit down. You understand? You will not want to take that risk. So a lot of combination which rose up from the distrust and insecurity and other dynamism that played out in the 2023 election.
All right. Now to end the entire interview, right? What structural or policy shifts do we need to see to happen to ensure that this isn't just another event, but for the confab, yes, but we are seeing the beginning of a sustained engagement?
Okay, thank you so much. Just to mention, just to do like a recap of what I said at the beginning, the structure of this confab is already giving a green light of the direction where they want to go. The level of involvement, as I mentioned to you, the National Assembly is fully involved, and other important stakeholders are also part of the process. Experts are part of the team. Civil society, that their job is to hold government accountable, are part of the the planning committee. So I think it's a very good one. And then if you look at the timeline of the confab, after the whole consultations, there will be reports and communique. And the expectation is that the communique and whatever policy document that is coming up is going directly to the linkage in the House of Reps, the linkage in the Senate. So it means that what we should be expecting is that there will be a rigorous engagement even after the confab. So I think, and I will still hammer on this, when young people believe or finally agree that they are included in this, I'm sure that the first step has already been achieved. Because galvanizing diverse voices is the most important thing at the moment. And then it's obvious that the 50-50 is going to play, having the male, the females, and the people with disabilities. So it's already a step towards the direction. And I'll end with this, with the commitment of the president, because nobody asked him. He decided that I want to hear the youth. Even before the other social media campaign that the young people, the 30 days rant, challenge, whatever came in, the president has already said, I want to hear the youth, and I want to, I'm giving this mandate to you people to ensure that you engage youth and come up with this policy document that I will see and I'll send to it. So I think that commitment from the president, the commitment from the stakeholders, and the team that are driving it is already something that is showing a direction that these people are serious. And then for it to be a youth-led and youth-driven and youth-involved, I think we are on a great trajectory.
Okay. Well, we have some messages right now on WhatsApp. We have Tosin Adebayo from Osun State. It says, I believe the time for young people is now. We've protested, we've tweeted. Now it's time to take the conversation to the decision-making table. The confab should not just be about old men in Agbada. It must reflect the real Nigeria, and youth are the majority. That was Tosin. And Amina Bako from Bauchi State also says, these conferences come and go, but nothing really changes. As youth, we are tired of talking without action. Let's see job creation, proper education, and policies that actually affect our lives, not just speeches.
Yeah. All right, let's take a few more. Chijioke Nadi from Enugu State, he says, we keep saying youth are the leaders of tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. And we need a deliberate shift in the mindset. The youth must stop being used as political thugs and start seeing themselves as policy makers. And I do believe that you're not going to be used if you're not available to be used.
Truly.
That's the truth. We need to make up our mind. We need to make a decision, right? Because we're neither here nor there. And when somebody is neither here nor there, they can be dragged anywhere. That person in itself is a risk, because you can be dragged anywhere, you can be used for anything. So I think that the first point of call is alignment. Let's know where you are. Are you going to be part? In fact, I have said it many times that everybody should be part of a political party. You don't necessarily need to contest for anything. Be a part of this party so that you are aware of the activities within the party.
Truly.
If you are looking at things from the corridor, you will most likely never get a clear picture. And that's why you still hear people say something in 2025 like, all politicians are thieves, all politicians are liars. Not all of them are. If you get in there, you will know that few of them are. There are few that are good. But because those of you who claim to be good and refuse to get into there, then the bad people overpower the good people.
That's
and
true.
it now looks like That's how they all are.
You know, and,
so, yeah.
And also brings me to something that has been on my head for quite some time now. When you see young people involved so much in activism, you know, and then that begs the question, are we really looking out for power so we can create change, or we're looking out for power to complain? You know, and those are the things.
You know, power for change or
Power
power
to complain.
Yeah.
And or power to the people. Well, whatever the case is, it's important for you to align yourself properly.
Yeah.
And I think that like this is it. And let's take one last one from Victor Okon. He's from Akwa Ibom. He says, if young people can run successful businesses, lead global tech teams, and organize national protests, then we can definitely lead the country. But we need structures, mentorship, and funding. Otherwise, we will keep making noise. And you know, there's something we said here sometime this week.
Okay.
And I think you mentioned a bit about that, where you were talking about it's not about who gets the job done. It's who is competent enough to get the job done.
Right.
Not about who gets elected. So many times when we advocate for women in power, when we advocate for youth in power, we forget to ask some very vital questions, which is, are they ready to take power? Do they have the requisite knowledge to rule? Because we can keep fighting from today till forever, and we will most likely never get the results that we need. And the effect of putting a person in power who does not have the requisite knowledge is bullying and mismanagement.
Truly.
I don't want to call names, but I'm sure that we do have practical examples of youth that have been put in power. We see how they mismanage public funds, and they refuse to be held accountable. You know, some Gen Z moves in the political scene right there.
You know.
But I think this is pretty much everything that we can take right now.
Okay.
Right? If you are just joining us, bet you didn't know, we have been hanging out with Haruna Godia. And Haruna Godia is quite a resourceful person, you would agree, from today's conversation, because he said a lot about the confab, the youth participation, and politics in general. He's the Programs and Policy Coordinator at Leap Africa, and he's a leader, public policy professional, and passionate good governance advocate. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate your presence.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Okay, people, back to Victor and I. This is where we draw the curtains for today. And yes, we had quite a robust conversations from the morning, 7 o'clock up until now,
Truly.
9 o'clock, almost into 10. And I must say that we must take things into our hands. We must take I'm not talking about
Not violent.
not violence.
Not violent.
You know, if you don't like something, then you have to do something to change
Right.
what you don't like. But if you do nothing, absolutely nothing, you remain at that point for as long as possible.
Truly.
And so this is a call to Nigerian youths. This is a call to you and I to participate in the process that can cause change for our nation.
And of course, do remember that making Nigeria better has to do with you and I, not just the government. So as much as you can, from your own corner, do the little good that you can do. Cause the change that you can cause there. Be accountable. Have integrity, all right? Be that person that, you know, when you say you're going to do a thing, you do that thing. And in that little office that you occupy, ensure that you are producing results that are massive and even beyond you. Of
Certainly.
course.
All right. Remember, you can rewatch this episode on YouTube at Official Rapid TV. And we're very much active across social media platforms at Rapid TV. Catch us live. Now, most importantly, you can watch us from anywhere in the world because we have a website that affords you that opportunity. You see? Don't say we didn't do anything for you. www.rbnradiotv.com. We are always live and active right there. And this is Martha Alu. You can call me Martha and
My name is Victor Arke.
And we're signing out today to be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This is the Almighty, and I'm here at the Mastermind Maiden Edition.